This is a follow-up video to a video I did a while ago about decks and building them, some of the problems you could encounter building them below ground level. Biggest problem I could think of, if you could just imagine cutting a hole in the ground and it raining and filling up with water. And if you live in an area where it rains a lot, this would be a bigger problem. You live in an area where it's a drier climate, it's going to be less of a problem. These areas can fill up with water, and they can actually leach the water from the surrounding area. The water will just come in from the sides. This is going to be a nice spot for it to fall into. Now, this is probably the worst case scenario, building the deck right on the ground. The moisture from the soil will be absorbed into the wood and start the decomposition process a little faster. I should say accelerate it. So this is a worst case scenario. I do not recommend building a deck and just placing it right on the ground. It will need to be above ground. You need to use something, some type of concrete or some type of building hardware, footings, piers, something to separate it from the soil. What I did here was raise the deck off of the ground. There's the hole, the concrete footings, the building hardware, separating it. We got a couple of beams, some joists, just to give you an idea of what you could be working with, some type of situation. Again, concrete footings, a metal building hardware, fastener, something that you can fasten the deck to the concrete. And this is the ideal situation where you can separate the wood from the concrete with the metal, something about an inch. Now, don't forget, debris can always fall and build up on top of the concrete. Once the debris builds up, decomposes, and you got a nice pile around the beam, then you're going to have problems with that. And this is one of the bigger problems with building the decks below ground is you can't clean the debris. That's got to be the biggest problem. If you can't clean the debris, then pretty soon the wood's going to rot. So that is going to be your number one culprit: moisture and debris. Here's what the floor would look like after you put it in, after you built it. Remember I said in the other section, the previous section, that we raised it up to show you an idea what the footings and everything would look like. This is actually what it would look like if you were to build the deck below ground, kind of just one way to do it, I should say. Now, I realize this could be an exaggerated situation. You know, I filled this up with water, and this might not happen in most cases. You know, it'll take a lot of water. But again, I'm just kind of referring to your area. You live in a wet climate, you could run into something like this. You live in a dry climate, you might not ever run into it. But if you build the deck and there is any area in the deck area where water can accumulate and raise above the bottom of the decking, then you're going to have problems, especially if that water sits there for a long time. And trust me, I have seen plenty of decks, and it seems to happen a lot. It seems to be more of a bigger problem in areas in the southeast, Georgia areas. I mean, I've seen a problem in Louisiana one time. It was some guy was doing a video, and the wood was touching the water every once in a while. As the lake or the river would rise, the deck would get wet, and then it would descend, and over time it just destroyed the deck. And I don't know how long it took to destroy the deck, but again, that's why build a deck in the first place. There are other methods you can use to accomplish the same goal most of the time. So, you know, you might live in an area where concrete or pavers might work better than a deck. So the whole key is to avoid a situation where you're going to need to replace something in the future, or something that would lead to expensive home repairs. I just threw this in there. This is what it would look like without the water. This is kind of what it would look like with it. Again, just to give you an idea what we'd be looking at. You could build a deck that's 10 inches above the soil. And if the water only rises to 6 inches, you're never going to have a problem. Or I should say, you probably shouldn't have a problem. But you take and you build this thing to where you're an inch off of the ground, and the water rises 2 inches, and it sits there for a month. 1 month out of the year, you could end up with a problem. Now, what about gravel? I've heard people say, hey, what if I put some gravel down? That'll allow the moisture to seep into the soil a little easier. Well, that might work in some areas, and it will definitely do something for the water that could be retained in these areas, or provide you with a way to get it into the ground faster. 100% agree. How much gravel would depend upon the area, but this still brings us back to our debris problem. If we have a gravel bed that, let's just say it's 4 inches or it's 10 inches, this is going to provide us with a way to get rid of the water and realistically some of the debris. But is it the overall end-all solution to this problem? I don't think it is, because if you have enough debris, leaves, dirt, you have enough organic matter that's going to accumulate by either falling through the corners, the edges of the deck, or actually falling through the gaps in the decking themselves, then over time you're going to end up with a buildup of organic matter under the deck. And remember, it's not like you're going to be able to clean this thing. You would need to be able to remove the decking to clean this area out. And I'm not saying it can't be done, but if you think about it and you engineer and you design the deck for that, you're going to be better off, even if you could do a maintenance inspection on the deck, because that's got to be the biggest problem with these decks. You cannot access the area underneath it. And if you can't access the area underneath it, you're not going to be able to remove the debris that builds up. Organic matter that builds up underneath the deck joists will start to rot the wood. Wood is organic matter, and it does decompose. It will decompose faster with moisture, and it will decompose faster with organic matter that is decomposing around it. So anyway, I don't recommend building decks below ground. There are other ways that you can end up with something that might look good: concrete, pavers, decorative concrete, something like that. So if you need it, hey, I want this thing, then make sure you follow a few precautions along the way. Maybe use treated wood, even though, remember, treated wood doesn't will rot. Remove some of the shrubs, trees around your property. Keep the leaves and debris off of the deck around it. And, if you're walking and you're tracking the debris, dirt onto the decking, and then you're washing it off or you're brushing it off with a broom, most of this debris is going to be falling between the decking cracks, the joints. So unless they're tight, but then you've got another problem because the debris will accumulate there and start to rot the wood also. So anyway, I think I got that covered. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment area, and I hope I didn't go a little overboard, a little too long with this video.